Welcome. In this video, I'll be discussing about ASM physical metadata replication, which is a new feature in 12c. As we already know that the AU0 in every disk is reserved for storing the disk header free space table and the allocation table, and the AU1 is reserved for storing the partnership status table. From 12c, the metadata information that is there in AU0 is replicated into the AU11. So from here on, it maintains two copies of the metadata, one in AU0 and the other one is in AU11. The PST is also a physical metadata, but the PST is mirrored across the disks in a disk group. Whereas the first three physical metadata structures, disk header, free space table and the allocation table, are replicated into AU11 on the same disk. In the slide, we can see that the data structures of physical metadata which are there in the AU0. These three metadata structures are replicated into AU11. So AU11, allocation unit 11, is reserved for storing the physical metadata from 12c. So what if I have a disk group with a compatible parameter, compatible.asm parameter is less than 12.1? Let's take an example that have a database running with 12c, whereas my disk group compatible.parameter compatible.asm is set to 11.2. So in this case, if I want to advance the disk group compatible.asm parameter to 12c, and this disk is quite being used from some time, and probably the AU11 would already have the data in that. So in this case, when we are advancing the disk group parameter to 12.1, the data which is there in AU11 is copied to somewhere else on the disk, and the metadata structure which is there in AU0 is copied into the AU11. Now let me show the same thing from the database. So in this we can see that I have two disk groups, data and FRA. Now by default in 12c, the physical metadata replication is enabled. To show that, I'll use the command ls attribute -g data -l. This lists all the disk group parameters. So here we can see that physical metadata replicated is set to true. When this value is set to true, it means that the physical metadata replication is enabled on disk. And here we can see that compatible.asm parameter shows that 12.201. Now let me show the other disk group. So I'm using the other disk FRA. Here, and this disk group compatible.asm parameter is less than 12.1. Here we can see this parameter value as 11.202. So in this, we don't see that physical metadata replicated parameter for this disk group. Now let me advance this disk group compatible.asm parameter to 12.201. To do that, I'm using the set attribute command -g FRA and the compatible.asm value So with this command, I'm advancing the FRA disk group compatible.asm parameter to 12.2. Now let me list. So after advancing this, the physical metadata replicator parameter has been set to true for the disk group FRA. Now let me see the disks which are part of this disk groups. So I'll be selecting one of this disk to see the allocation unit 11 if it has this metadata replicated. So I'm selecting the disk 1, and the allocation unit number I'm selecting as 11 because the AU11 from 12C onwards is going to contain the physical metadata which is there in AU0. And the block number 0. So here we can see that the block 0 of AU11 consists of disk header information. And similarly, block 1 should contain the free space table information. From this we can see that the block 1 consisting of free space table, and from block 2 to 255 should be used for allocation table. Here we can see that it is used for allocation table, and let me also query the block 255 here. Yeah, here we can see that the block 255 is also reserved for storing the allocation table. With this, it is clear that the AU0 and AU11, both the allocation units, consist of physical metadata. Thank you.